Okay, so I recently made a video about Jordan Clarkson specifically and how I believe that he could end up being what the Utah Jazz need as a scoring punch from the guard position to give them much needed wins and push them into the playoff picture. Now, the biggest thing for Jordan Clarkson coming into the season is the fact that he is one of the older pieces on this roster, and at the age of 31, he doesn't quite fit the timeline of the younger guys, such as the Keontae George, Walker Kessler, even Lauri Markkanen, who's in his mid-20s. With that being said, though, he has been the guy that's been the continuity point from age to age for this team. And it was further proven that he was a leader of this roster in the Clippers game when, despite going overall 4 of 13 from the field, he ended up coming up clutch and hitting a 3 that put them up by 2, and then he had stellar defense on Kawhi Leonard to prevent him from getting the go-ahead bucket and closing that game. Now, overall this season, he is averaging 28.7 minutes across 3 games. In the first game against the Kings, playing 31 minutes, getting 24 points in his most efficient showing so far, going 8 of 16 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, having 4 rebounds, 6 assists. He just looked the part. He looked like everything that they needed him to be in that one. And despite losing that game and most of his points coming in the second half when they were really, to a certain point, kind of meaningless because the game was already busted wide open, it was still something that I was comfortable looking forward to and projecting him to be a good looking piece going forward into the season. Now, he followed that up with a similar showing against the Clippers, in which he played his most minutes at 34, putting up 13 points while shooting an abysmal 4 of 13 from the field, but 3 of 5 from beyond the 3-point line to go along with 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal. Now, against the Suns, in blowout fashion, the game was lost. However, he did play a season low minutes as well, as more lineups were just interchanged and tried out, as he played 22 minutes and put up 7 points, shooting 3 of 10 from the field, 0 of 3 from beyond the arc to go along with 2 rebounds and 2 assists. Now, across 3 games, he is averaging a career high in assists, which I think is very important because we don't have a pure point guard on the roster ever since Mike Conley was traded away. And because of that, you're looking for more people to step up and take on a playmaking role, and just being able to make the right plays at the right time and making timely passes and reading the floor well. And at times I felt like Jordan Clarkson has mightily struggled with that. He seems to be a more willing passer at other points in the games, which attributes to his almost 5 assists that he's averaging on a nightly basis. Now, the biggest highlight of his season so far has been his 3-point shooting. Now, he's historically been an okay to good 3-point shooter, but right now he's shooting 38.5% from beyond the arc across 13 attempts. Now, in the first game, he went 2 of 5, second game 3 of 5, and most recently 0 of 3. Now, I don't think that 0 of 3 is going to be a consistent thing that you see often. That being said, even despite going that, because he shot so many threes previous and made enough of them, it doesn't tank his percentage overall. And I believe that will be a trend going forward where he takes roughly 4 to 6 threes on a nightly basis and probably gives you 2 or 3 of those each time. Now, my biggest issue is on his shooting inside. If you're shooting 40% and then 60% from beyond the arc, and in one game you shoot 50% from the field, but in the other one egregiously under 40, it's not a very good look. And when you take into context the fact that he shot 4 of 13 against the Clippers, he ended up actually going 1 of 8 inside the arc. Now, a lot of these were touch shots, a lot more of the floaters and layups, which was a little bit more uncomfortable to watch because you would much rather, if somebody's missing those types of shots, they be mid-range jumpers. But knowing that he was getting to the rim or getting within 10 to 15 feet of the rim and just not being capable of finishing was a little bit uncomfortable to watch. That being said, he did end up closing that game out, so there is a level of grace that is warranted in that situation. And the fact that he's also been able to stay on the court can also be attributed to the stellar defense that he's been playing in zone looks and even in man-to-man coverages. There was a lot of points in the Clippers game specifically where he was matched up on Paul George or Kawhi Leonard in a switch situation or just picking them up once they crossed half court. And he did not look as though he was backing down from the challenge. The effort was always there, and it was all culminated in the fact that he hit a 3-pointer over Paul George, and then coming back down on the defensive end, he ended up getting a stop on Kawhi Leonard and making Kawhi shoot that 3-pointer long after he put the Utah Jazz up 2 points and had to defend that possession that would have had the game going the other way, with Kawhi hitting that 3 and the Jazz potentially losing by 1 point. In the most recent game against the Suns though, it was, in my opinion, his worst performance yet. Against the Clippers, he shot basically 31% from the field, and shooting 3 of 10 against the Suns is basically 30%, so they're roughly the same thing. But when you watch the quality of shot that he was taking and just how comfortable he did not look, the Suns game is obviously more important, because when he was on the floor, the Suns were completely mutilating the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz at some points in the first quarter seemed to be holding their own, but as the second quarter started to happen, you saw an offensive collapse that saw a lot of missed shots from THT and Clarkson specifically, while Lowry still managed to hold things together in the first half, going 4 for 4 beyond the arc. I think a big cause for concern going forward will be wondering what kind of ability you can get out of your starting guards, and while I am comfortable with Clarkson still playing just because he is giving the potential defensive upside that we were hoping for, I wonder if Will Hardy might switch it up and give Ochai Agbaji a little bit more opportunity for some burn. Now, admittedly, this is a rough schedule, and playing against the Suns, albeit short-handed without Devin Booker or Bradley Beal, the Suns have of late been proving that they have the best bench in the entire NBA, with depth that borders starter player minutes and starter player capabilities and just shot-making skills from the likes of Grayson Allen all the way on down the list. It was put on full display against the Utah Jazz, and while it really hurt my eyes to watch, I actually do intend on watching that game back so I can give a more astute observation on everybody's play, and more specifically our usage of Walker Kessler to this point and going forward. Now, I would like to preface that I am not as low on Jordan Clarkson as I am on THT, because Jordan Clarkson seems to be pulling more of his weight in other areas when his shot isn't directly falling, and his three-pointers, similar to THT, are going in for the most part, with the exception of the most recent outing. Now, I trust the ball in Jordan Clarkson's hands a lot more, and while he has been at times been proven to be turnover prone, for the most part, he's been efficient and a more solid decision maker than we've seen of him in past seasons. Going forward, I would like to see him get the opportunity to continue to shoot threes the way that he has, but also increase his efficiency when he's inside the arc. Because if he's unable to, then you might be better pressed to play Ochai, simply for the fact that Ochai is a 3-and-D player, which means he's a better defender than Jordan Clarkson, and he should present roughly similar output on 3-point attempts. With that being said, you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that Jordan Clarkson's last game is a little bit of an anomaly? Do you think that he's going to bounce back and shoot closer to 50% from the field? And let me know if you think that his 3-point percentage will continue to be one of the highest that his career has ever seen. Or do you think that Ochai Agbaji deserves a little bit more time to prove himself in the league, with it being his sophomore year this season? And do you think that he could turn the tide and provide a better defensive adjustment while also providing the same 3-point shooting that Jordan Clarkson does? With that being said, it's your boy Wraith Hoops. Thanks for tuning in this video. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And as always, good morning, good evening, good night, no matter where you are on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.